What's up? You know, there's come a time where there's been a movie that has captivated an audience or a group of people and touched them in the hearts to make them reflect on their own lives and, what can they do as people to help or need or aid someone, and it's emotionally withdrawing. And this film is none of that whatsoever. Deadpool is a movie you go to watch to have no remorse about anything. It is the comic book on the screen. Now, when we first saw Deadpool, and of course when we first saw the Wolverine horror film that Fox made, that was probably the worst superhero movie made in a long time. Now, when that was made, fans was irate because if you're going to make Deadpool, one thing you don't make him is silent. A silent Deadpool. And they make fun of all the things that were said about Deadpool in that movie and every other movie to be. Making fun about sewing his mouth shut. There's a lot of jokes this is like Lionel-rama. Okay? There's a lot of jokes in this movie, Deadpool, that are for people that are like 35 and older. Because if you're not 35 and older, you're not going to remember half of this stuff that he's talking about. And even the girl who was she was the meta-apocalyptic, whatever, the teenage punk girl, she even references like, my God, you are old. His references are just completely hilarious because they come from a different time frame of like 80s movies. Now, the people that love Deadpool are the people that are in the 35 to 40 bracket. If you're in that bracket, Deadpool is your hero. You grew up reading the Deadpool. He was Spider-Man to the extreme. There's actually a joke in there when he called it, I'm just your friendly neighborhood Deadpool. Because he's just like Spider-Man, except for he don't have the web. He has the mouthpiece of Spider-Man. And he's very deadly. There's some scenes in here that's just like, comic book fans, we made this movie happen. We wanted Ryan Reynolds to be Deadpool. Because when he was Deadpool and we saw him on the elevator, we were like, man, he was great. Why did they stick with that? We saw what worked and we saw what didn't work. And what worked, they should have kept in the film. But they chose not to do that. So this film gets it right. And from the beginning you see Deadpool, he's, from the opening credits are hilarious too. But when the storyline is a simple storyline. I mean, the storyline is so simple that it doesn't even have anything to really carry over for the movie. It's just the introduction of Deadpool. You want to know why he wants to kill this guy. He had cancer. He met the love of his life. He has cancer, and he doesn't want to die now from in front of this lady. It's killing him that is going to be hurting her. So he agrees to go to this guy, this doctor rather, who helps make people into the mutants, basically. And what they use to pitch it is, we're going to turn you into a superhero. Something he never wanted to be. But before he had that problem, he worked for an agency which he really came and got revenge on people who were being stalked or couldn't protect themselves. So that's where his gifts came in at. Now, moving right along, that's all taken care of. You have a situation where now you're in a bad boat because you agree to go through this process, and in the process it like burns his face, his whole body's covered and like all these burns, and he doesn't look the same anymore. So but he's alive. and it made him immortal. He can heal instantly. He can't die. So the rest of the body thing kind of sucks, but other than that, he's Deadpool. And so he's looking for the guy that made him the way he is, because the guy told him that he could fix his face, but he just didn't like Deadpool. His mouth was too much. So he wants to find this guy so that he can get the information out of him, or get him to fix his condition. So, it is what it is with that situation. And the movie overall, like I said, is line-o-rama. The comedy, even having, what's Chrome Boy name that I keep forgetting? That's in there, the X-Men. Oh gosh, how could I forget his name? I was just talking about time they had him in the movie really doing something. Because in the other movies he's just like a dunce. But at least in here we got to see him in some activity. But anyway, Tin Can is in the movie, and Tin Can gets knocked around, but even he is great in the movie. But it's funny because it was brought up. They go to the X-Men mansion, and he's like, why come out every time I come to the X-Men mansion it's just you two? Like the studio couldn't afford any other X-Men to be. And it's funny, he always makes cracks that's relevant to the situation. And if you go to watch the movie, I won't tell what happens at the end credits, but there are end credits. So stick around for the end of the film. Okay? I'm out. Oh yeah, Deadpool, definitely a must-see movie. Do not take children to see Deadpool. I saw a lot of parents in there shocked at the, I guess the trailers misled them to believe that this movie was suitable for children. And it is not suitable for children at all. You probably didn't watch the Red Band trailer. Your kids did, though, when they fooled you, duped you into taking them. So, I'm out.